What's a good word, everyone? It's your boy DKB here. I just want to say thanks for all the support. The channel's been steadily growing, and the number you see below, you can drop a text, shoot a voicemail, any ideas, topics, collabs, etc. you guys want to see. I'll include them in future videos and live streams, and I'll catch you again. Be easy. What's a good word, Jets fans? It's your boy DKB here. And there's quietly been a pretty productive trend for Darren Muji, at least when it comes to trades, right? You find a way to get Harrison Phillips. You find a way to get Jawan Briggs, both guys that we feel really, really good about, day 3 picks. You find a way to get Jarvis Brownlee, day 3 pick, right? Each of these guys have already been solid contributors, but probably the one that's offered the most immediate impact is Jarvis Brownlee. And this is coming after I already hyped up Harrison Phillips and what he's meant for Quinnen Williams, for example. But in terms of directly impacting the game on his own merits and not necessarily beefing up or making other players around him also look good, which in and of itself is something you want, Jarvis Brownlee Jr. stepped onto the scene and immediately changed the energy of the defense. And not him solely, but when you want to talk about guys that can maybe help kickstart things on that side of the ball, it was a very short conversation. It was Quinnen Williams, who, as an interior player, there's a lot that can be done to kind of nullify what he can do. It was Sauce Gardner, specifically in terms of his lockdown coverage, and that hasn't been as elite as you'd like to see it. And because he doesn't force takeaways, also doesn't necessarily give that talent infusion or that energy infusion to the defense that you'd like to see. And then it was Jermaine Johnson, and immediately we felt his presence once he returned as well. He's also a big accountability guy, not just for himself and whenever he lacks an impact on the game, or at least feels that way, but also for the others, right? It's about everybody doing their 111th, as you like to hear them say, and ultimately rising to the occasion, right? He's that guy that can get other players to play above their means, in my opinion. And Jarvis Brownlee feels like another one of those guys. And having someone like that in the secondary is so vital, right? I talked about for a while now the fact that it feels like we really haven't had an enforcer on the back end. And Jarvis Brownlee could legitimately be that guy for us, right? Again, you look at what he did against the Broncos, 90.4 PFF grade, our highest graded player, I believe, as a whole for that game. Delivered us the first turnover of the season on a forced fumble. Was physical enough that he had Bo Nix shying away from, his duties in the slot, essentially the middle of the field, tackling things to the flats, etc. And I love the fact that he's crashing down in the run game, which was really one of the primary factors for why you go out and trade for a guy like this, because he is a huge force in the run game, which is a known issue for us. And the fact that he's helping make plays, but also opening up opportunities for other guys to be able to get in on the run stop party here, if you will. It's exactly what we needed on the back end. And it's a very different skill set from what we got out of MC2, by the way. He was more of a well-rounded player overall that just did everything to good to great levels. But Jarvis Brownlee, while we don't know the long-term effects of how he'll play throughout this year, and of course within this scheme for us and the players surrounding him, one thing is for sure: his physicality is going to be the game changer for this defense on the back end, because at any point in time, him blowing somebody up, him forcing these fumbles, in the event where he starts being able to also get interceptions to help out this team and maybe flip some field position for us, as well as getting the ball back in the hands of the offense. He's a force multiplier, and I think that's what I mean when I think of the game changer kind of aesthetic of what we really need with this defense. Again, Jermaine Johnson kind of being one of those guys. Jarvis Brownlee, it's a small sample size. It's one game, but we know historically for his career, he's been elite in terms of tackling, run defense, and you love if he plays if he plays man coverage as well as what we got to see in the Broncos game. You feel really good about that being another component that Aaron Glenn is going to want to lean into, and ultimately what really helps him change things up, right? For one, once MC2 went down, it was going to kind of be musical chairs in terms of who really fills that void. And we tried throwing in Tony Adams, Malachi Moore. We tried throwing in Isaiah Oliver. And in fact, Jarvis didn't technically start this game. The first 2 snaps went to Isaiah Oliver. And then once Jarvis Brownlee came in, he was able to make that immediate impact. And he pretty much played the remainder of the game as the starting slot for us. But what this allowed the team to then do was turn guys to what would be their ideal positions, right? Malachi Moore moves back to safety. And if you remember from the breakdowns with Malachi Moore, they had him playing the star role and did all right, but really shined once he got to play as a safety. And so you return him to a position that he's familiar with developing in and should be able to bring more potential turnover type plays for us. 2, you now have that physical presence over the middle of the field that can help patrol, can help crash down, can help with the sideline to sideline, can help with the man coverage aspects just due to his tenacity out there. And then you also kind of have this trio of bigger body guys between Brandon Stevens, Sauce Gardner, and now having Jarvis Brownlee out there. And it just offers a bit of a different problem for a defense to have to go out there and really solve. I'm excited, right? Anytime you get early returns like this for a player, it does make you think, for one, how consistently can he play like this? And 2, we have him on a really cheap rookie contract deal. So we don't have to worry about the whole problem of we got to pay this guy after 1 year of having, a couple or many strong games. We get to watch him really develop within this scheme and see what kind of player he can be for Aaron Glenn. Again, asterisk, assuming Aaron Glenn continues to be the coach of this team going into 2026. But still, Jarvis Brownlee right now looks like a star within this defense and a necessary component of how we can help turn things around. And the Carolina Panthers, by the way, is also an excellent game for us to try to get back on track, because their strength, even though they're starting to develop some pieces in the receiving game, their strength is going to be what they've been doing with Rico Dowdle in the run game. And so if you can have Jarvis Brownlee be part of the solution that shuts him down, you do give yourself at least a very favorable shot of being able to eke out a win this week, which would also be sorely needed for us. Now, I know there's many people saying they want to tank and they want to secure the top draft pick, etc., etc. I'm never on board with that. I want the wins, and this will be a good foundation game, if you will, for seeing Aaron Glenn finally try to turn the corner with things. It'll also be nice just to see what a lot of these players sound like coming off of a win, and of course an Aaron Glenn press conference where he's not being berated by, terrible decisions that led to a loss and all this other kind of stuff. But let me know what you guys think. Jarvis Brownlee, can he be a foundational piece in this secondary for the team, or is this just kind of a stroke of early good luck success within his defense? And I'll catch you guys again. Peace.